Greetings, football fans.
This is the ESPN LA USC Trojan Media Network.
Presented by Pechanga Resort Casino.
Ready for some football?
Here we go, Monday, September 15th, 2025. Let's do it. Trojans Live is on for your Monday.
Welcome to Trojans Live.
The exclusive USC Trojans Coaches Show.
As we celebrate the win, even though we had a 3-hour weather delay on Saturday night, Trojans beat Purdue, get the win, start the season 3-0, and an amazing moment on the defensive side of the ball.
Brown will pass as he's hit, but it knocks up in the air, and it's taken out of the air by the Trojans. Jarrett, the big old dude, is at the 40, at the 30. He's got an escort at the 20, the 10. The big man has scored a touchdown for USC. All 6'5" and 360 pounds of Jamal Jarrett, the transfer from Georgia. How do you do?
Trojans Live is presented by Monster Energy. Monster Energy, unleash the beast.
Unleash the beast.
How do you do?
Behind the scenes insights and breaking news from the student athletes who play for the Cardinal and Gold.
We'll talk about it with head coach Lincoln Riley. Plus, get you ready for Michigan State back home at the Coliseum on Saturday night. And cover everything else in the world of USC athletics. Let's do it. Trojans Live is on for your Monday.
Live from Los Angeles.
Now with the All-American Shaun Cody and Keely Eure, here is your host, Jordan Moore.
Hello and welcome to Trojans Live, presented by Monster Energy on ESPN LA 710 across the USC Trojans Media Network. I am Jordan Moore alongside Shaun Cody, Keely Eure, and the head coach. Lincoln Riley joins us. USC's head coach interview is presented by iTrust Capital, the official crypto platform of the USC Trojans. Trojans sitting at 3-0 off a big road win, but it was an eventful night. Lots to talk about in West Lafayette, Indiana. You know, you come from Big 12 country. Maybe you had a weather delay like that before. We haven't had one since 2012. Was that the longest one of your career?
I think it was. I can remember one at East Carolina in earlier years, which was pretty long. Yeah, definitely the longest one in a while. And then when you combine the fact of the time zone travel and all of that, I think it made it maybe the most unique one that I've been involved with. And so, I thought the guys handled it great. They were pretty amped in the locker room the entire time. We actually had to kind of calm them down and get them to sit down and relax a little bit, which was good. I thought their energy level and focus and just kind of willingness and excitement to go out and play like never let off. And it was unique because I know outside probably doesn't know, like, we thought there was going to be a delay. Then they came on to the field during pregame warmups like, no, we're good. It's just going to be rain. So we finished warmups. We're bringing the team up. I'm like, at the very end of the kind of pregame speech, and literally about to break them down, they come in. It's like, nah, there's lightning. We're delayed 30 minutes, and then you're just kind of watching it. And every 30 minutes, there's other strikes, and it just kind of keeps adding. You don't quite know when you're going. I think we ended up doing like 5 or 6 different schedules because, like, all right, we're going to kick at this time. All right, we're going to warm up at this time, and then as it got longer. Well, then you got to warm them up more because they've just been sitting there for a while. So it was unique, but the staff, the players, everybody was ready, and obviously, the entire program handled it well.
Yeah, Coach, how did you feel about the response? I mean, from a former player, I'm sure you've been in those kind of delays. It's like you have a routine. You want to peak at the right moment. You want to get the energy going. You don't want to get too early, too late. How do you think they came out of that, out of the delay?
I thought there was just a mindset that, like, whenever we play, we're going to be ready. Mm-hmm. I think they weren't that focused on when it was going to be. I mean, there was times like, hey, we're getting ready to go out. Then we said, nope, by another strike, we're not going out. And there wasn't like these highs or lows. They were just like, all right, just tell us when it's time to go and we'll be ready. Yeah. And it was just kind of that mindset the entire way. And so, yeah, I thought just a real no excuses attitude from everyone.
Now that you had time to look at the tape, overall, what do you make of that performance, given all the unique factors?
Yeah, excited about some of the physicality that we played with, some of the things we did up front, especially in the second half. There were some really, really good things on both sides of the ball. Ryan Siri continues to be a really bright spot for us. He was huge in the game, great on kickoffs, really hit the ball well on field goals. Had the one unfortunate one that just caught the upright, but really hit the ball great. Defensively, I thought the defensive line played a really impactful game. Thought our linebackers played very well. And obviously we had the big interceptions in the secondary, so you had contributions at all three levels. Offensively, it was okay. It was I was excited that you're excited that you didn't have to punt, you didn't have turnovers. Normally, if you don't punt and you don't have turnovers, you're going to win a lot of games. And so, we did what we needed to do to win, but it certainly wasn't our best performance. So, I think the mentality and the edge that the team had the whole night is still kind of the thing we'll hang on to and then just continue to build and grow from there.
You're listening to the head coach, Lincoln Riley, on Trojans Live. You watched the film with the team yesterday. What was the film room rewatch like of Big Ja's dance to the end zone?
Yeah, it was pretty good. I got to give our video crew a lot of Eric Michael and all of our social guys. They put together a little video for the team meeting. So the first vision when we were riding home Saturday night, I saw the TV copy of Ja returning it. My first thought was, well, he looks like the water boy, right, carrying the ball the way he was. So our guys did some pretty unique video editing and maybe spliced in a couple shots of the water boy with Ja running down. So that was pretty cool. Our sports science guys did a couple of cool stats on just like the amount of force that was moving when you take a guy that's as big as Ja and how fast he was moving. It was pretty interesting. So anyways, we had some fun with it. Pretty cool moment. Big guys, as we were talking about with Shaun, big guys don't get an opportunity to get those very often. Not to mention, a 70-yarder. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, where the heck were where's the other team at? Were they trying or they gave up on the back end? I was like, what's going on here? There was no one around, man. That was pretty cool. Great moment for him. Great moment for the defense. Coach, I wanted to talk about the run game a little bit. Obviously, it didn't get off to a great start, but as you guys warmed down, you stuck with it, you kind of grinded it out in the second half, and Wayman got going. What was the take from the run game after the game?
Yeah, just early in the game, especially, we weren't super clean there. We were just kind of one block away the entire night, and at times they were committing a lot of people to the run game. There's no question about that. But regardless of that, it wasn't our best performance there. We weren't as clean as we normally are. There's a lot of guys individually that were really good, but it just kind of seemed like we were consistently just one away, and then. Yeah, obviously ran it better in there in the second half, especially when it was kind of obvious that we were gonna attack them with the run and try to bleed some clock. And so, really proud of how we ran it at the end. We ran a ton of clock. Had some explosive runs, several that were just a shoestring away from popping all the way. So yeah, it got better as the game went on, but definitely have to start faster in the run game.
How do you evaluate the inside linebacker play through 3 weeks? We saw some flashes from Tamir and from Jaden Walker for the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, obviously Eric's our leader there, and he's been just all over the place, just a maniac out there. It's pretty fun to watch him play right now, playing at a high level. I think Dez has been really steady for us. I think he got a little bit of play time obviously last year, but this is his first chance to really get out there and play a big number of snaps, and so he's doing some really good things. And I also think he's going to grow and continue to play faster, more impactful as this thing goes on. We were excited about the way that Jaden came in and played, the way that Tamir came in and played. It was good to see some of that depth show up and be impactful, and excited to see those guys go pull the trigger and make some really, really impactful plays. Tamir had a couple of really good blitzes, obviously, that were impactful. Jaden had some really nice plays, especially on the toss crack there to our boundary. And so, yeah, it's good to see some of those other guys contributing because we're going to need certainly more than just Eric and Dez and some of those guys as time goes on.
You're leading the nation in sacks so far. Unlike your first season when you had a lot of sacks, but so much of it was Thule, this year it's just there's so much depth at that spot. What is that allowing you to do, and what does that sort of make you look at the rest of the season and what you're capable of doing, coming at people in waves with that much athleticism?
Yeah, it's when it was Thule, Thule was unbelievable. You take one of those anytime you can get them, but like at some point, people are going to double team them or triple team them or scheme away from it, and we saw that at times, in our first year. The difference now is we can get there with a lot of different people, and we are probably tougher than we've been at any point since I've been at USC for people that game plan how they're going to protect against us. We've got guys on the interior that can rush. We've got guys on the edge that can rush. We have linebackers that can rush. We have DBs that are very effective blitzers. You saw Ramsey obviously hit the quarterback on Ja's interception. Kristen Pierce had a sack. And so, I think our ability to affect the passer from different positions is it's much closer to certainly where you want to be in terms of people scheming against us. It's cool to see that we're getting a lot of production from different people.
Some big explosive throws from Jaden. We saw some more action. I thought he was great in the ground game, making those reads, keeping the defense honest. What was your takeaway from Jaden's performance?
Yeah, he played a mature game. Had to have some patience just with the way the game unfolded. It was a low possession game, obviously, and we had some opportunities. He threw the ball down the field, just unbelievable. I mean, the throws down the field were ridiculous, yeah. And so we missed a couple of just easy completions, just as an offense. Not just him, not just the wideouts, just everybody as a whole got to be a little bit more crisp in some of our route running and some of our just easier completions, especially in the second half. I thought we were just a little sloppy there in the throw game, and that definitely hurt us from being in some better situations. But he played a mature game. He played a winning type football game. I mean, as a quarterback, the team just needs you to be sometimes different things each week depending on the challenge and how the game unfolds. And so I thought it was just a really mature performance.
Yeah, taking care of the ball, too, is really important. Yep.
Exactly.
Well, the big games are coming one after another now. Nothing bigger than Saturday. The Big Ten home opener, USC versus Michigan State. It is presented by Coke. It's going to be a little Big Ten after dark action. It'll kick at 8 p.m. Pacific time here in Los Angeles. Our Trojan Tailgate show will go on at 6 p.m. We will talk to Coach about that next on Trojans Live. Jordan Moore, Shaun Cody, Keely Eure, and the head coach Lincoln Riley here for a second segment. We teed it up, Big Ten after dark, 2 3-0 teams on Saturday night at the Coliseum. Importance of setting the tone at home this year, not just for the team, but the fans and everyone involved on Saturday night.
We all have our role. And I would just say, whatever the fans' expectation level is for us to play, we need the same thing in the stadium, period. We were just talking about it off air. We go to these different venues, like Purdue the other night, it's rocking. I mean, we walk in every Big Ten field game that we walk into, it's going to be rocking. And so we have to have the same thing on the other side, and there's nothing like the Coliseum when it's rolling, and we only get a handful of these. And so now we do. We need it rocking Saturday night. We need it throughout the entire season.
Late start on this one, 8 p.m. Obviously later probably for them, but what's your take? How do you handle those late night games for the team?
Yeah, it's not as big a deal, obviously, for us being out here. I mean, we'll allow the guys to sleep in a little bit more on Saturday, which will be good considering, kind of what this week's going to be like after the delay. It just kind of pushes everything back. So, yeah, that works out fine. I mean, for us, it's whatever the time is, we're going to be ready to roll. The guys are going to be excited to play. So, again, we need to be ready. We need to have a great crowd, go have a great performance.
You made the switch this season to practice on Sundays and have Mondays off for the players. That's nice on a home game, but when you come back at 3 a.m. on an away game, what was that like this week?
It's a quick turnaround. Yeah,
Sure.
We were supposed to land about 10:30. I had the game started normally, and as you guys know, it was
only.
Yeah, just a hair later than that, and so. Yeah, it's part of it though. I mean, you got to turn over quickly, so get a couple quick hours of sleep. And the nice thing is, with technology these days, though, a lot of us, you're so wired after the game, it's kind of hard to go to sleep. Yeah. So, I mean, a lot of us were able to, do all of our kind of post-game work and even start looking ahead at the opponent on the plane ride home. Mm-hmm. So you do gain a little bit there, which is cool. You used to obviously not be able to do that, so that definitely helps. But these next couple of days, you got to maybe one extra energy drink, and here we go, right?
What do you see from Michigan State? Legit dual threat quarterback. Yeah, he's got 30 carries through 3 games.
Yeah, really athletic kid. Has played in their system now for a little while. They had him recruited to go obviously to Oregon State, and then made the switch with them. And kid obviously that we know, respect his ability. Jonathan's a great coach. He's always been really effective. His teams have improved. They do a great job offensively. And from what I've seen up to this point this year, we didn't have much crossover with them last year, but what I've seen up to this point this year, it's a very improved team. They've won some cool games. They had a pretty cool obviously win early in the season with BC, they're a tough physical team, kind of like you would expect. They're very multiple offensively, and the quarterback is certainly, as you said, him being a dual threat, having some experience, is somebody we're going to have to do a great job with.
Coach, defensively in the secondary, Bishop Fitzgerald has a big game, 2 interceptions for them, but at times maybe look like a lot of space back there for some guys. Brown had some nice throws in the game. And when you have a defensive line who's hunting like that, is the message to try to get to the DBs like, hey, you got to understand your coverage a little bit more when you have a D line that can kind of hunt like that?
Yeah, I think so, and I think we're learning a little bit, how to play together.
Yeah.
And I think both the coaches, players, everyone of kind of like what's going to be. What are going to be our advantages and the matchups each week, and how do you complement, pass rush with coverage? And it's different. It's definitely different when you're practicing, against one another and you're not hitting the quarterback and all of that. And now all of a sudden you get into some of these games, and I think that's just part of evolving throughout the season, And it's as you know, Shaun, from playing it, it's every year is a little bit different, and then within the year, every game and matchups are a little bit different. You're trying to kind of find that sweet spot where it's what you want up front, it's what you want coverage-wise, and those two are feeding off one another. So, yeah, I think we can definitely close down some air with those guys. We can definitely be better. But the thing we're doing, at least up to this point, I mean, we're doing a pretty good job not giving up the big plays, and then there's certainly, something to be said for that, to make people drive it against our defensive front.
It looks like the injury bug got Michigan State a little bit. How does that affect your prep, if at all?
I don't know that it does a ton. I mean, I think these guys they've been able to build some depth. I think I think they're pretty set in their ways in terms of what they're going to be. These guys are, experienced coaches that are going to have quality backup plans. So, yeah, I don't know that we pay a whole lot of attention to it.
We were having this conversation actually a couple weeks ago about recruiting guys who play quarterback in high school but go on to play different positions, and that is the case with Bishop Fitzgerald. He was a high school quarterback. He goes to JUCO, then NC State, and he learns how to play safety. You watch that last pick, and it clearly looks to me like a guy who diagnosed the play. I mean, is there something to that? A quarterback has to have so much knowledge of what's going on in the field, of having that mind at a different position.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything that could train you in football like having to play quarterback and having to see the field and operate and know, how offenses are trying to attack you. I just don't know that you could duplicate that. And I think that's been a big help. I know we talked previously with Bishop about his transition to a very different scheme here. This is radically different than what he did before. And so I think some of his ability to turn it over quickly and get really cemented here in our scheme is I think you could trace back to that, and then certainly some individual plays like you referenced.
Coach, that you mentioned Eric Gentry, a phenomenal game. You watch me flying around making plays, but the one play, you probably never seen before in college football, a double pass that he maybe should have probably picked off, instead goes for a touchdown. What do you tell poor Eric after that one?
Yeah, it's crazy because we had shown our guys that exact play, and Eric diagnosed it
he was
perfect. When I saw Eric jump to the quarterback, I could tell it's gonna be a throwback because it was on our sideline pretty quick, and I saw him go to the quarterback. I'm like, this is a pick six. Yeah. I'm like, this is going the other way, and then the ball's on the ground, and it wasn't intending on being. It wasn't supposed to be obviously a backwards pass. Yeah. And I still don't know if it was. I actually think if they would have called it incomplete, I don't think they would have changed it. It was really, really close. But yeah, just kind of a freak play. I mean, our awareness, defensively has got to be, hey, if in doubt in any way, just get on the ball, right? Still rally the ball. Even though it's kind of a crazy freak play, let's go get him tackled, right? Let's don't let him score. So yeah, a lot to learn, but yeah, that's just one of those things that goes against you sometimes.
Yeah. Christian Pierce, our next guest, has more responsibility on his plate this year, obviously. What have you seen from him through 3 weeks?
He's stepped up. He has. He's we talked about it in the offseason. His ability to step up from, previously he was a role player for us on defense and was a really major contributor on special teams. I know, one of his goals was to become really a mainstay in that secondary. And so he's done a great job really learning the system. I mean, really diving into the finer details where I know our coach's confidence is so high in him to just operate our group. And then I think he's also taken on a real leadership role. I mean, he's definitely one of the alphas in that DB room. And so, yeah, his presence there, both in developing on the field and then just who he is as a leader has been really important for us. And, obviously it's great for us this year and going to be great for us in the future.
All right, time to pack out the Coliseum on Saturday night. An 8 p.m. kick, USC versus Michigan State, presented by Coke. We will go on at 6 p.m. Come hang out with us at the Peristyle. You can bring Shaun some tailgate food. It'll be right in your dinner time, buddy, so it'll be perfect for you. Come hang out with us. If you're not in the area, the game is on Fox, but we want to make sure every seat is filled at the Collie. We just talked about Christian Pierce. Now we're going to talk to Christian Pierce. He's next on Trojans Live. Our best in the game is Christian Pierce, junior safety, who joins us now. Jordan Moore, Shaun Cody, Keely, Eure. Christian, what's going on, man? What was it like for the players? We saw a video of guys having fun, and it sounded like you guys were still pretty turned up during that long delay, maybe a little bit more energy than we had. What was it like in that locker room and in and around that locker room trying to kill 3 hours?
Man, I'm not going to lie. I tried to take me a little 20-minute nap.
Yeah, a little power nap.
Yeah, a little power nap, but the guys was excited, man. And I love that. You feel me? Everybody was feeding off everybody's energy. Once I heard them, you feel me, bringing that energy, I had to get up. Immediately had to go and have some fun with my guys and to stay mentally prepared, you feel me, for this game. And you feel me, I feel like we did a great job at that.
Man, made your statement early in this one. Got you up in the box there with a little sack action. Got a big tackle to start the game. What was that like being with those big guys in the box?
Man, it was great. You feel me? Them guys, they going to do their job. They physical. You feel me? We going to go and we going to attack the quarterback every play. So it was great to go out there and really to contribute.
You excited when Coach Lynn dials up that blitz there? You know you're coming off the edge. You try to get that sack?
Every time, man. Every time there's something in me that I'm like, I got to go make this play. You feel me? For my team. And you feel me? Luckily, I made it.
I'm just curious from your perspective, because I don't think the full public knows, but you guys did full warm-ups. You were ready to basically kick off, and then they called it 3 hours off, and then to come back in so locked in. What does that take to lock back in?
I feel like it takes a lot. It just shows just how our drive as a team and what we're really mainly focused on and what we have to do to go out and get them big away game wins. And I feel like we did a good job at that, and we ended up getting that win.
You're listening to Christian Pierce on Trojans Live. Christian, you are the rare thing in today's college football, a guy that had some patience. You've had a sort of more traditional development journey here at USC. Take us through it. What have been your 3 years like here? You know, getting some opportunity, but having to wait your turn a bit.
It's been good. It's been a blessing, for real. Just be able to be in this program and to be able to just elevate each and every year at a different role. And to be able to just give my all really to this team. And I feel like going from a special teams player to actually a bigger role, it kind of helped me to understand like every play is important, from special teams to defense to offense. Every single play is important, and every play has a life of its own. So I feel like just going throughout that my whole career and just realizing, you feel me, what's real and what's important.
Not only one delay in the game, obviously the lightning storm, but the second delay being Big Ja, trying the amount of time it took him to get it to the end zone in the game. Were you out there on the field for that one, or where were you at, man? What was that play like?
I was very surprised. Out of nowhere, I just seen the ball go up. He caught it. I couldn't believe he really started taking it. I thought the ball was dead. I thought something happened, and then I see him taking off, and I had to try to catch up, maybe get a block. But, yeah, it took him some time, but he got there, though. You feel me? He got there.
When you first got to USC, when you try to get to know who the new players are, I try to assign a trait to them. And the trait I assigned to you in practice is that you were always hitting so hard. How would you describe how you play out there?
I just love the game. I just love to go out and play physical. I feel like I just love that aspect of the game and just go give my all. And I like the dirty, the grimy of it, just the. You feel me? It's a you versus me. Like I'm trying to dominate you just like you trying to dominate me, and just a competitive part of it. Like I really enjoy that.
If memory serves, and correct me if it was somebody else, but I think it was you in the game. You almost had a pick, but it was on a play that was going to get called back anyway. I've always wondered this for defensive guys, and Shaun, you could chime in on this too. Do you see it? Because, do you see that, this is I think it was an offside, so it's a free play for the offense. I've always wondered what that does to, your energy level. You're like, this is not going to be a pick anyway. But, and you in a pass rush. I mean, do you guys, feel that? What's that rep like when you're like, it's a free play anyway?
Me personally, I kind of recognize, I'm like, okay, this play's not necessarily going to count. So maybe if I do get this pick, maybe the run back is going to be a little less. I'm going to save my energy. We're in red zone in that situation. So
Fat guys especially, we are trying to conserve energy. First, I yell at the person who did it. If it was me, I say I'm sorry, and then I just stop and go back. Let's huddle up.
Yeah, for sure. So I tried to save all the energy I could, and I still, every time you still want to make the play, and you still want to try to make the play, but you got to have that in the back of the mind a little bit.
So I saw Rancho Cucamonga, right? That's where you're from?
Yes, sir.
So, how about show some love for the IE, man? A big program out there, doing things out there. What's it like growing up out there and playing football at a young age?
It was great. I really enjoyed it. You feel me? They really, at the high school I went to, they really love football, and they really are big on their program out there. So just to be out there and to just grow and elevate in high school, with some good coaches like Coach Hildebrand and Coach Soward, and they really developed me and really gave me an opportunity to be able to come to a school like this and to be able to go out and make some plays on a Friday night. So yeah, it was big.
Now you can make them on a Saturday night. Big Ten home opener on Saturday night, USC versus Michigan State, presented by Coke. Christian Pierce is going to light up the night. And speaking of the IE, fight on Trojans and fly on with ONT. Ontario International Airport is a proud sponsor of our USC Trojans. Visit SoCalSoEasy.com to start planning your vacation today. And don't wait until game time to plan for retirement. Open your free iTrust Capital account today and get your crypto IRA. iTrust Capital is the official cryptocurrency platform of the USC Trojans. Hey, our buddy John Jackson is here. He's going to join us for Football Roundtable next. Jordan Moore, Shaun Cody, Keely, or John Jackson back in the house. JJ, who's part of our Saturday broadcasts, but good to have you back on Trojans Live. Show that we started together back in the day. So
that's right.
Back in your seat where you should be. Guys, this was the game where we were supposed to learn some things. So now I'm curious what we learned. After the first two games were a little bit more exhibition vibes. This was very much not a Big Ten road game in a hostile place. There was some adversity along the way. What did you learn, JJ?
Well, I love the fact that the defense stepped up with defensive turnovers, touchdowns.
Yeah.
I just think the defense is the first thing that really stood out to me, that the way they played and contributed to the score.
I second that. JJ's are all over it. He told me before the game he expected the defense to have a good game, and then the defensive line played like that. Really, I think for the first time in a long time, I saw the defensive line take over a game. They were pass rushing. They come in, like you said, Jordan. They came in waves. They would rotate a group out. The young guys would come in, and the young guys were putting pressure on the team. I think there's an aspect of, like Lincoln said, about learning how to play with a defensive line that can pass rush, what you can do off that, how you can benefit. So on that end, and then offensively, I thought it was a really mature game for Jaden. No turnovers. He was good with his feet, had the long, those passes were beautiful and controlled kind of the pace of the game. Now, some of the red zone things where they got kind of hiccupy down there, those are things to work on, but early in the season, I think a lot of good signs from the offense.
I think big picture, this was a game that we had circled as far as can USC take care of business on the road, let alone throw in the wrinkle of a 3-hour weather delay. I think, and we've seen this a lot online, but people were saying this is a game that USC loses last year, not only because of the hiccups with the weather, but, the second half wasn't as strong and things got a little dicey there, but USC finds a way to win. So I think on the whole, that's a step towards the right direction, progress in that sense.
How do you think they handled it all? Do you think the game would have played out any differently if there hadn't been a delay? It really was a unique circumstance.
No, I think that because of the delay, it allowed the players to go back in the locker room, maybe, understand the adverse situations, and we still got to play. We still got to show up. Shaun, when things go wrong and the plan, these things are all scheduled out from the beginning.
Yeah.
The morning you get up, what you eat for breakfast. Everything. And if something goes off kilter, you sometimes think, that's an excuse for us not to play well. And I think they handled that part, the adversity part of how the game started, and just got down to business, which that's what they came there for.
That's a good word. The excuses were built in. They didn't take any of them.
Yeah, I think
there you go.
And JJ's right. It galvanized them. It brought them together as a team. I remember the game against Washington State where it started hailing or raining or something, and the whole team comes together and starts jumping. Sometimes those distractions can help you and galvanize you and team and bring that energy into that. Looked like they got out to a good start on Saturday.
What's wild, too, is the last time that USC had a weather delay not at home was 2012 Syracuse. Also, coincidentally, the last time that USC won east of Colorado, 2012 against Syracuse. So weird coincidences with that one.
You brought up some of the defensive issues. It was kind of a funny game in the sense that, you look at it and they had the one stop that ends up not being a stop because they had the penalty on the punt. So you had basically a 3-and-out there where Jakeem makes his first big play. That ends up being a longer drive. You have the one touchdown, which is so that sort of fluky play that Eric Gentry probably felt like he should have had, but then the ball's on the ground and sort of nobody reacted to it from USC. But then once sort of Purdue started getting momentum, it was tough to slow them down. But did you find the defensive issues fixable, JJ? Was there stuff that you're worried about that's not fixable or harder to fix?
Well, D'Anton Leonard, I think, is all over it. He knows that it wasn't a clean game defensively, but that gives you coaching points. And, Shaun, even after a win, if the coaches start getting on you, you tend to respond the next game after. And I think that's what you're going to see on Saturday, and they're going to need it because Michigan State offensive line is very good.
Yeah, and you got to learn what you got. I think you're learning as the season goes on that, okay, now we have this defensive line. Is this a weapon now? Was it Purdue's offensive line? Can we do it? Can we produce the same kind of pressure all year? That's the question that's coming up because then if you're Dan Lin, if these guys can produce this kind of pressure, I don't have to bring people as much. I can run my defenses. I can get my corners on those guys. And I think that was part of the problem on Saturday was maybe these secondaries give them a little bit too much space, especially if the guy Brown was under pressure. So you got to get up on those guys and you learn that as a season, and this is a great time to learn those kind of lessons where, okay, I know this is a weapon now. This is a tool in my tool chest. I can use this defensive line and know how to work the back end at the same time.
And that is something, I mentioned it at the very end of the game, Keely, but identity, right? Everyone always asks this question of coaches, what's the identity of this team, or fans and media like to talk about it. And they're learning it too, right? Mm-hmm. So, I'd almost rather have a team that had kind of obvious strengths and weaknesses because then you know what to lean into and to protect. And so, yeah, if you start with that pass rush as an obvious strength and it becomes the identity of this defense, hey, we're leading the nation in sacks. They're second, in tackles for loss. They're just way up there in all these categories. If that's a case, then that's something to go with. Whereas maybe in the last couple of years, they just never really found a defensive identity.
Yeah, and you said it at the top, like the first two games, how much did we actually learn? That also goes for the players as well. Think of how much rotation they had at corner. Jaden was the first time he played 60 minutes of football. They're still learning how to play together for a full 4 quarters. So I think there's also just like a chemistry piece a little bit. Like, yes, obviously you want to know who you have, run through those reps in the first 2 games, and the talent maybe isn't as strong. But now learn together, learn what you need to do if you have that identity with your defensive line, and then kind of take that step each game.
Shaun's a big fan of progressive meals. This is like a progressive schedule here, JJ. And that's what's kind of fun about it. I feel like the second opponent was harder than the first, the third opponent was harder than the second, and I think the fourth opponent is harder than the third. So it's kind of a nice, staircase up here for this team. But as you said, a bigger challenge awaits on Saturday night, albeit at home with Michigan State.
I saw Lincoln on the way out, or on the way in. I'm sorry, on his way out, and I asked him, "Is it fair to say that this is a matchup of the two most creative offensive minds in the Big Ten?"
Yeah, that's interesting.
I mean, and I asked him how late are you staying up at night? He said just a couple hours. I said okay.
I have a lot of respect for Jonathan Smith. I mean, he came in there. He came into the Coliseum with some Oregon State teams and really, played with us a little bit at times. He's a talented play caller.
Even 2022 as well.
What did any of that have to do with my eating habits?
I just always try to bring it back to subjects that you're comfortable with.
You
don't like a progressive meal?
Unnecessary shot.
You don't like a progressive meal?
I think it was a take on my eating habits. I don't like.
We can explain to you a progressive meal after the fact.
Off air.
Yes, thank you, JJ. Good to have you back, man. We're going to fill your seat with some USC men's golf. They've played one tournament this year and they won it. That's next on Trojans Live. Jordan Moore, Shaun Cody, Keely, Eure, and Antonio Safa on Trojans Live, presented by Pajanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC football and USC athletics. USC men's golf senior Antonio Safa coming off a huge win, man. You were, 17 under par in a 54-hole tournament last weekend. That is a USC record. What was working so well out there?
Yeah, I think I was hitting the ball great, especially my second shots, which just kind of allowed me to be give myself a lot of birdie opportunities and playing out there like stress-free golf because, like I said, hitting too many greens, it's easy not to screw around too much around the greens.
What's it like getting your first collegiate victory, number one, finishing at the top? I mean, that's got to be an awesome experience.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's been a course that I played before, and I was playing different to what usually plays because usually plays kind of fast and fast greens, but it was very soft out this week, so we played different. But yeah, I mean, to get my first collegiate win starting off my senior year, it meant a lot. And to be in there 17 under as the lowest score in program history, that's awesome.
You're entering the second season with your new head coach. What's it been like with him, working with him?
Yeah, it's been awesome. I've been with him for 4 years. I came with him from Missouri, and I just love the way that we both work together and everything that we've done. It's awesome.
Take us through your journey a little bit. We were just talking to you about it before we went on air, but it's this was called the Whirlwind Invitational that you guys won. It's been kind of a whirlwind journey to get to this point for you.
Yeah, so as we mentioned, I grew up in Mexico, and then I've been also lived abroad in the U.S. in Orlando for 3 years, the golf academy there, and then been at Missouri for a year, and then now this is my third and final year, so it's been a little bit of not a roller coaster, but been everywhere.
Where in Mexico did you grow up?
It's called Torreon. It's a small town in the north part of the country. I'm like 5 hours off the border with Texas.
Is golf popular there? How'd you discover golf?
Not really. Well, nowadays after COVID, it's been getting very popular. Yeah. But my dad and my family, they were just huge golfers, and ever since I was a kid, I would go watch him play when I was like 2 years old every Friday, and that's how I fell in love with the game.
I always wonder about the team golf aspect of it. I know Coach Hankins, we've talked to him about it. And what's it like? What's this group like? And what counts when you're really playing team golf?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's always going to be an individual sport. You got to take care of yourself. But it's awesome that we get to do something different because you're always so focused on yourself that you can also worry about your teammates, right? And how to, take care of them, be part of the group. And, we have a great team of guys. Not a lot of them. We're only 7, probably one of the smallest teams in the country. But it's a very competitive team, and we just push each other to be better every day.
Given your history of how young you were when you were around the sport of golf, when did you know, hey, I might be talented, I could earn a scholarship with this?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been, since I was young, competitive and good at it. But I think that first year in 8th grade when I went to study abroad, that's where kind of everything switched, and I really wanted to pursue a career in golf.
The golfers have a nice life because they follow the sun, right? So you play a lot of golf sort of California and Arizona and Texas and Florida. And I was looking at our schedule, and that's pretty similar. How different are the style of courses, though, as you sort of make that trip regionally across the country? I mean, Big Tens this year, for example, is up in Oregon. I mean, how different is that than Florida golf based on, the grass and the style of courses and all the weather that goes into it?
Yeah, it's always going to be different in each state. I think a good example you put, it's Oregon to Florida. The type of grass is a lot different, so it's going to play softer conditions in Florida, maybe always humid or rainy. So like I said, it's going to play softer. The greens are going to be probably not as firm like in Oregon. Oregon's going to be like tree lines, so you have to be very precise of the tee. Greens might be firmer, quicker. So it's everything, a little bit of those variables that change.
Is there one you prefer, an area you prefer to play golf?
Not really. I've grew up in Bermuda grass, so kind of like Florida, Texas, that kind of style, but I've loved playing golf everywhere.
What's your game like, and do you have any personal goals this year?
Yeah, I think one goal before the tournament, I told our assistant coach that I wanted to win a tournament.
Done. Let's call
now what?
On to next year.
Gotta win, gotta win another one, and then get up in the PGA Tour rankings, which would help me propel to the PGA Tour in a couple of years.
Yeah, always the next step. The next step for you guys is going to New Mexico this weekend, but it's a long sort of wraparound season from fall to spring, so we will be following Antonio Safa and men's golf. Thanks for joining us on Trojans Live. One more segment to come. One final segment of Trojans Live. Jordan Moore, John Jackson, Keely, Eure, and Shaun Cody. We'll play a little musical chairs here. They're moving around. I get to sit next to my buddy JJ for our over-under. JJ, you're going to have to explain how over-unders work to Shaun. He never understands this, so it's a good thing you're here, veteran that you are. Our over-under is presented by Pechanga Resort Casino, proud partner of USC Athletics. Okay, so our over-under is 299.9 passing yards per game this season for Jaden Mayava. So he's at 329.7 right now. Big Ten has not had a 300-yard passer since C.J. Stroud in 2021, but USC, Caleb Williams did it twice in his 2 years at USC. So basically, will Jaden Mayava be a 300-yard passer this season?
I'm going to take the over. I got 2 reasons.
Yeah.
The 2 reasons are the receivers.
Yeah.
Lane, Lemon, best receiving combination in the country.
Boom.
Yeah. I mean, what more needs to be said? But yes, I will also take the over as well. Because if you think about it too, the way you laid out the data, the only year that hasn't happened under Lincoln Riley was last year, and that also had a quarterback change. And I'm going to take the over.
I'll go under. I think
it's a tough league to do it in.
Yeah, they didn't do it against Purdue. 280, right? Was it, what do you have? 280 for the week.
And he over 300 on both
over 300?
passing and
oh, okay, never mind.
He was over 300 this week.
Okay,
yeah,
never mind. But I just think it's a league where you got to be able to run the ball at some point. And I think you saw that on Saturday. You saw a team that were willing to run the ball, even though it wasn't looking good early. They Lincoln kept going to it, and they figured it out and put the game away with the run. So I think they just have a little more trust in the run game this year.
They were putting up massive yardage in that first half. I mean, Lincoln talked about it, but the deep balls that he threw were pretty perfect, and the ability to hit receivers in stride on a deep ball, we almost don't see that anymore. JJ, I feel like a lot of quarterbacks sort of prefer the underthrow, play it safe, guy comes back to get it, but he was hitting Jacoby in stride.
Yeah, I think the defenses usually roll the corner up so the receivers can't get that free release, which is something I think Michigan State better do this week. Otherwise, I think it's going to be a big day for the receivers again. But I agree with you. I mean, the defensive coverages these days just make it so hard for the receiver just to take, a straight release without
get behind
any pressure. Yeah.
Yeah, everything is coming back, and then they all get the PI calls coming back, too. It makes it very hard on the DBs. We have an 8 o'clock kick on Saturday night. No excuses for the fans. Everyone's got to get out there. But the next week is a 9 a.m. Pacific kick. It's a road game. It's at Illinois, so they'll actually kick at 11 a.m. local time. Asking the guys, kick times, do players feel it? Was it different for you kicking at 8 p.m. versus 9 a.m. body time? What was your history with that?
I think me and John are probably in the same way. You want to rather play early. I just feel like always wanted to get going early in the morning. I felt like your juice was going. You knew your clock and what you had to do. Those late ones, man, those coaches try to squeeze in every second of meeting they can, and I hated that. I hate nothing worse than a football meeting walkthrough on a Saturday morning.
So the time change plays in our favor this week.
This week, it's got to play in our favor, right? Because it's 11 p.m. body time for Michigan State. I mean, just apologies to their fans. I saw some people on Twitter that still think that like USC gets to make this pick.
I know.
And it's just like, I don't know how people don't know this by now, but that is not how this thing works at all. The game times are handed to us. We just got one today. So 11 p.m. is rough for their fans. And, yeah, for their players, obviously, that has to be difficult. And then, next week, I guess, would be the opposite, JJ. USC at Illinois, that's going to kick at 9 a.m. body time for the Trojans.
See, in a perfect world, Michigan State, for their practices this week, they have to practice when they would like to practice under lights, to get used to the environment. But this week they're going to run their practices at normal time, 2:00 in the afternoon, because the kids have to go to class and everything else, so they can't change that schedule. So they don't have a chance to, otherwise the coach would have to call them back at 8:00 at night to practice. They're not going to do that.
Well, for Keely and I, as long as there's no more delays.
Yes, please.
As long as we just kick at the scheduled time, I think we'll take that for the rest of the season. Hey, thanks to everyone that stepped up today to make Trojans Live happen. We're a little bit undermanned, but made it happen, made it look good. JJ back in the house for it. Good to have you on Trojans Live and everyone watching. You heard from the coach. We want to see everyone at the Coliseum on Saturday. Thanks to Ben Conroy, everyone back at the ESPN LA studio. You can follow USC and Trojans Live on YouTube all season long. That's it for us. For Shaun, for Keely, for JJ, I'm Jordan. Fight on, everybody.